Hey there, Econ 421, Chapter 8, Part 3. We're going to finish up the chapter. We'll end with the questions, and we're going to start by taking a look at the trade-off between wages and benefits, which is another kind of compensating differential. This one's going to be pretty easy. Some of the questions that I sent at the end of the chapter are very different, and I think you'll find them interesting. And yeah, variation on the Detroit Tigers. Okay, so we know that compensation includes both wages and fringe benefits. And in a world where there's no tax implications to providing one versus the other, there is firms should be absolutely indifferent between providing compensation as wages or benefits. So let me show you what the diagram would look like, and I've combined a couple of things at once to kind of save on time a little bit. So that's the diagram right here. We've got the normal indifference curves that we're so familiar with, but on the vertical axis we have wages, and on the horizontal we have benefits, two things that are valued, okay? And we're going the normal direction towards the northeast for increases in utility. And I've drawn two indifference curves, U1 and U2. What I've also drawn is not a budget constraint per se, because this is something that comes from the employer, but it's an ISO cost line. So what we have here, and it's really an ISO profit, it could be thought of as an ISO profit line as well. But what we have here is the firm's trade-off between providing wages or benefits. And if there's no tax implication whatsoever to that, so $1 paid as wages or $1 paid as health insurance or life insurance is the same to the firm, then the slope of that line is going to be equal to -1 in absolute value. And at the point where individuals' willingness to trade wages for benefits is exactly equal to 1, point A in the diagram over here, that would be the optimal position for firms to be in. Now, what can we do with this? We can do a couple of things with this. One of them is we realize that there is a difference between wages and benefits, and I believe this goes all the way back to World War II, if I remember. So a lot of health benefits are not subject to tax. So if you provide someone with $100 of wages, that may be equivalent to providing them with $125 in benefits. So in a circumstance like that, and that would be as if the isoprofit line is flatter than -1, and therefore people are going to be more inclined to want their compensation a little more heavily weighted in terms of benefits versus wages. We don't mean more than 50% in the way of benefits, but workers would like a greater portion of their compensation to be in the form of benefits as opposed to wages per se. Again, it's because of the tax implications. So it's pretty straightforward, and we can talk. I think there's a question at the end of the chapter that's going to address that. If not, I'm going to come back to it. But I want to mention something else, and that is we could have a slope that's going to be equal to -1. We could have a slope that's flatter than that, which would lead to an increase in benefits. Is there ever a situation where to the firm the curve is actually steeper than -1, meaning greater than greater than 1 in absolute value? And the answer is yes. And that is if a firm, let's say, is very generous in providing sick leave, health benefits, of a different sort, but continuing your pay even if you're unable to go to work, that may encourage people to go ahead and be sick more often because they'll say, hey, I'm getting paid anyway, so I'll call in sick. you notice that's exactly the opposite of what's going on right now, where some people are afraid not to go to work because they don't have sick pay, and therefore they may be jeopardizing others given what's going on right now with the virus. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward with regards to that compensating differential, and like I said, we're going to get to a